Marilyn Monroe, the secrets she knew. August 5th, 1962. At 4:25 a.m., police arrive at a small home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. Inside, they find the most famous woman in the world, dead. She is lying naked on her bed. A telephone rests beside her hand. There is no suicide note, no witnesses, and no clear explanation. Within hours, the official cause is declared probable suicide. But what makes Marilyn Monroe's death so disturbing is not just how she died, but what was happening in the weeks before. She had just signed new film contracts. She was planning her comeback. She had purchased her first home. She was forming her own studio. And perhaps, most dangerously of all, she had become involved with the most powerful family in America, the Kennedys. Some believe Marilyn Monroe was simply a tragic star who lost her battle with depression. Others believe she became a liability, a woman who knew too much. Tonight, on Midnight Archive, we examine the final months of Marilyn Monroe, the powerful men around her, the missing evidence, and the possibility that her death was not what it seemed. Part 1. The woman who refused to be controlled. In 1962, Marilyn Monroe was 36 years old. She was no longer just a Hollywood star. She was a global phenomenon. Born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926, she had survived abandonment, foster homes, and instability. She had built herself from nothing. She had become Marilyn Monroe. But by the early 1960s, Marilyn was changing. She was no longer willing to be controlled by Hollywood studios. In 1955, she had formed her own company, Marilyn Monroe Productions. This was almost unheard of. Studios controlled actors. Actors did not control studios. But Marilyn demanded creative power. She studied at the Actors Studio in New York under Lee Strasberg. She wanted respect. She wanted autonomy. And by 1962, she was closer than ever to achieving it. The house in Brentwood. In February 1962, Marilyn Monroe purchased her first home. The address was 12305 5th Helena Drive, Brentwood, Los Angeles. She paid approximately $75,000. It was modest, private, and secure. She told friends, "This is the first place where I belong." This was not the action of someone preparing to die. She was building a future. She was settling down. She was reclaiming control over her life. The Kennedy connection. Marilyn's connection to the Kennedys began through actor Peter Lawford. Peter Lawford was married to Patricia Kennedy. This made him John F. Kennedy's brother-in-law. Through Lawford, Marilyn entered the Kennedy inner circle. She met President John F. Kennedy. Their relationship was never officially confirmed, but the multiple accounts suggest they had a romantic involvement. She also spent time with Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General of the United States, the second most powerful man in America. These are not ordinary relationships. These were relationships with men who controlled war, intelligence, and national security. May 19, 1962. Madison Square Garden, New York City. Marilyn Monroe walks onto the stage. She's wearing a skin-tight, flesh-colored dress covered in crystals. It is so tight it has been sewn onto her body. She sings, "Happy birthday, Mr. President." John F. Kennedy smiles. The audience laughs, but the moment feels intimate, almost private. Just 3 months later, Marilyn Monroe would be dead. The final weeks. In June 1962, Marilyn was fired from the film Something's Got to Give. The studio claimed she was unreliable, but public pressure forced 20th Century Fox to rehire her. They needed her. They offered her a new contract. She was planning future films. She was negotiating new opportunities. She was rebuilding her career. Friends later said she was hopeful, optimistic, determined. She was not planning to disappear. She was planning to rise again. August 4th, 1962. The day Marilyn died began normally. She spoke with photographer George Barris. He later said she sounded calm. At 7 p.m. she spoke with actor Peter Lawford. He later described her as sounding strange. Her housekeeper Eunice Murray was in the home. So was her psychiatrist Dr. Ralph Greenson. So was her physician, Dr. Hyman Engelberg. Multiple people were present, but their timelines would later conflict. At approximately 10:30 p.m., Marilyn reportedly retreated to her bedroom. She was never seen alive again. The discovery. At 3 a.m., housekeeper Eunice Murray noticed Marilyn's bedroom light was still on. The door was locked. She contacted Dr. Greason. He arrived. He broke the window. He entered the room. Marilyn Monroe was dead. Police arrived at 4:25 a.m. She was lying face down, naked, holding a phone. There was no glass of water nearby, no suicide note. Barbiturate pill bottles were present, but there were inconsistencies. No pill residue was found in her stomach. This raised disturbing questions. How had she ingested the pills, or had they been administered another way? The missing hours. Several key details remain unexplained. Peter Lawford later said Marilyn sounded disorientated during their first call. He attempted to call her back. She did not answer. Phone records from the night were incomplete. Some witnesses later changed their accounts. Housekeeper Eunice Murray later gave multiple conflicting statements. Some investigators believe the scene had been altered. The exact timeline remains unclear. Robert Kennedy's presence. Some reports claim Robert Kennedy visited Marilyn's home on the day she died. These claims remain disputed, but several witnesses reported seeing him in Los Angeles that day. If true, it raises disturbing questions. What was discussed? Why was he there? What happened after he left? These questions remain unanswered. The UFO file. In the decades after Marilyn Monroe's death, a document surfaced that would change everything. It was not a police report. It was not a Hollywood record. It was allegedly a classified intelligence memo, dated August 3, 1962. The document was attributed to the CIA, especially to an intelligence officer identified as James Jesus Angleton. Angleton was not a minor officer. He was the chief of counterintelligence for the Central Intelligence Agency, one of the most powerful intelligence figures in American history. According to the document, Marilyn Monroe had recently spoken to journalist Dorothy Kilgallen. Kilgallen was not an ordinary journalist. She was one of the most connected reporters in America. She had access to political insiders. She had access to confidential sources. She had access to secrets. And according to the memo, Marilyn Monroe had told Kilgallen she had learned confidential information from President John F. Kennedy, including information about secret military installations and classified objects recovered from crash sites. The memo referred to these objects using coded language, objects recovered from space. Some researchers believe this was a reference to alleged UFO crash retrievals, including the infamous 1947 Roswell incident in New Mexico. According to the memo, Marilyn Monroe had learned about these secrets during private conversations with the president. The memo described her as becoming a potential security risk, not because she was dangerous, but because she talked, because she trusted people, because she did not fully understand the consequences of what she knew. The memo suggested intelligence agencies were monitoring her closely, watching her, tracking her communications, concerned she might reveal classified information publicly. The document was later released by UFO researcher Timothy Cooper in the 1990s. He claimed it came from classified CIA archives. Its authenticity has never been officially confirmed, nor officially denied. But the timing is chilling. August 3, 1962. Marilyn Monroe dies August 4, 1962, just one day later. The pattern of silence. Dorothy Kilgallen, the journalist Marilyn allegedly confided in, would also die under mysterious circumstances, November 8, 1965. She was found dead in her New York apartment. Official cause? Overdose. She had been investigating powerful political figures. She had reportedly been working on major stories. Her notes disappeared. Her files vanished. Her death remains controversial to this day. Two women, both connected to powerful men, both dead under disputed circumstances, both surrounded by unanswered questions. The official verdict. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death probable suicide. Cause: acute barbiturate poisoning. Case closed. No murder investigation, no criminal charges, despite inconsistencies, despite missing evidence, despite unanswered questions. What was she about to become? Marilyn Monroe was not fading. She was evolving. She was building independence. She was gaining control. She was becoming powerful in ways Hollywood had never allowed before. She was no longer just an image. She was becoming an institution. And then she was gone. At age 36, frozen forever in time. Forever iconic, forever mysterious. Some believe Marilyn Monroe was simply a woman overwhelmed by fame. Others believe she became a liability, a woman connected to powerful men, a woman who kept private truths, a woman who could not be controlled. We may never know the full truth, because power protects itself, secrets disappear, evidence fades, and sometimes the truth dies with the person who knew it. Is the Midnight Archive, and remember, the truth is always stranger after midnight.